What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So today we're going to talk about whether or not, once and for all, your knees should be going past your toes when you squat. We've heard all kinds of advice here. What is the right advice? Well, let me demonstrate a couple scenarios here. First of all, we know knees over toes can look a few different ways. Number one, it can look like this. Okay? We're not talking about that. We'll get back to that in a second. That's a sissy squat. You guys should know how I feel about that. The next version would be something that looks like this, where your knees are clearly past the toes here. And then the last version is one where the knees aren't allowed to go past the toes. I sit back more and I'm in this position here. Okay, now, which one is right? Actually, only one of them is really right. The first one we know is not. The second one is the one we're often told not to do. And the third one is the one that we're actually told to do. Well, I'm going to flip it around for you because the one that we should be doing is the one in the middle. You're supposed to let your knees go past your toes in a properly executed squat with proper biomechanics. Here's why. Let me pull out this band here for a second. And I'm going to bring in Jesse for a minute.
Oh, sick. Does that mean I get another intro?
No. We just get your hands in this. No Jesse in this.
Hello, this is Jesse's hands.
I didn't mean a hand intro. I just said your hands. That's it.
Oh.
Demo. How about a hand demo? That's
okay.
all. So let's pretend that this is your knee right here. All right? This is your femur from the top. This is your tibia from the bottom. All right? Now, we put the patellar tendon over the top here, right? And what we do is if we were to squat with just the knee doing the motion here, right, moving forward like I was doing before, you can see that there's a lot of tension placed here in the middle of this band, right? We don't want that because that's compressing downward on to the kneecap, giving you like that shooting, stabbing pain that you're familiar with if you have any type of discomfort when you squat. If I were to go the other way and I were to just go back and sit back at the hips, once again, I've created a whole hell of a lot of tension here, right here in the middle. But if I'm in this position, right, I've created some backwards motion here to recruit my hips and glutes, which we'll talk about in a second, it's so important. But then I actually allow the tibia to move forward that way. Look where it does. It actually now displaces that force right here at the front of the knuckle, right to the front of the tibia. It flattens out the forces that were being compressed and directed right here to the kneecap. That's important because we want to do anything we can to avoid those compressive forces on the kneecap because we want to actually allow the kinetic chain that we actually have in our legs here to do what it's supposed to do, meaning start generating force here in the upper leg, transmit it through the kneecap, the joint here, which is the depot for this train, and then go down that track on the other side, continue through the train station to the other side, which is the tibia. If we don't get this transmission of force up and down, we're going to be in big trouble here when it comes to actually the pain that we feel in the kneecap because all the force we generate here gets stuck here and it has no outlet to get out of here. So what do? Well, I talked about in many videos how important it is to allow the glutes to actually participate because we know that when you get and sit back, you're getting the biggest muscles in your body here to be able to participate in the squat. The extension of the hips by the glutes is going to give us a lot of power out of the hole, especially if you're squatting to the depth you should be. But you need to allow those tibias to go forward, those knees to travel forward for the reasons I just told you, so that you get the ability to take the force that's generated through here and allow it to travel and go past the knee. Don't let it get stuck here. Go past the knee. And the only way you can do that is by allowing those tibias to travel forward. Well, when we get here, we say, well, how do we do this? Well, a lot of times, we're actually unable to do this because we don't have either the flexibility in the calf and the Achilles tendon back here to allow for dorsiflexion, or we get stuck on the front side here where we feel like we kind of hit a wall, which is a mechanical bony block that can benefit from immobilization. I actually have a whole video that I talked about how to do this, and I'll link it at the end of the video if you haven't seen it already in case you're feeling the tightness in the front of the ankle as opposed to the back. But either way, free your tibia, let them travel the way they're supposed to go. And the muscle that helps you to do that is the anterior tib. You can see here what it does. It actually creates that dorsiflexion of the ankle. It actually pulls the ankle up when my foot is free to move. But if my foot's in contact with the ground like it is when I squat, the movement will actually pull the tibia forward from the top, right? It's just relative motion, which way are we looking at it from? So we want to be able to let it do that. Well, I have a tip for you, an activation tip. As you go down into a squat, you've probably been told that you want to push down hard through the little toe, the big toe, and the heel to kind of create that tripod force downward. I'm going to disagree with that. I think that you should be pushing down through the midfoot, which is this black lace right here, the last lace on my shoe. Through here, push down on the outside, the inside, and the heel, but let these toes move. And if you actually pull up on your toes as you go down while keeping contact with the midfoot and the ground, you're actually going to facilitate this anterior displacement of the tibia. You're going to give yourself some of this dorsiflexion, which will relieve the kneecap from the stored up force that's causing all the knee pain. You're going to connect that kinetic chain. So as I go down, I try to pull up with the toes, keeping the foot in contact with the ground. So as I go down, I just kind of pull up the big toe off the ground and let the rest of it travel. Down, come up. Down, come up. Down, you can see the glutes are participating. They're recruited. I'm just not worried about keeping my knees back here. They're allowed to go forward and up, down, here, and come up. You want to be able to make sure that you establish that. Stop artificially forcing yourself to stay back. Some people even give you the advice to put up a wall here and make sure your knees never contact the wall. You don't want to do that. That's not natural biomechanics of the lower leg. You want that dorsiflexion of the lower tibia there, and you need to make sure it's happening. So try some of the things I showed you here. Try the tip to actually pull up on those big toes. If you have knee pain, I promise you, you're going to have a lot less instantly. If you're not somebody that struggles with knee pain, the biomechanics of your squat as a whole will improve, which will probably allow you to actually squat more weight in the long run. Oh, and one last thing. You see this clip here of the sissy squat that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. This is forward knee travel over the toes. However, it is completely opposite than what we're trying to talk about here. This is undesirable knee forward movement. We're talking about putting ourselves in this position here. We're actually in plantar flexion at the ankle, not in dorsiflexion. We're in plantar flexion and then trying to get this knee travel forward. That's a completely separate biomechanical movement pattern than what it is we're trying to get. That causes a whole hell of a lot of pain and discomfort in these. I couldn't even demonstrate one for you guys. I love you so much, but I couldn't even demonstrate one because I already felt like my knees are going to explode. Don't do the sissy squat. Guys, I hope you found the video helpful. If you're looking for complete programs where we lay out the biomechanics of the exercises and why we choose them, because it matters, as you see. It's not just what you're doing, it's how you do them that matters the most. They're all laid out step by step in all of our programs over at ATHLEAN-X.com. If you found the video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below. Let me know what you want me to cover. If you haven't already done so, guys, make sure you click subscribe and turn your notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.